The Conversation Project calls itself your home for headline news, information, and pop culture references that are worth chatting about. And we are pretty proud about that. But the sort of dark side of that is sometimes what's worth chatting about, things that people want to talk about, are a little off kilter. For example, Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry kissing on a boat, not really my problem, not really our business, but it's interesting to some people. And of course, the breakup of the marriage of Nicole Kidman and Keith and or Carl Urban, not really something we should be dealing with, but it's something that we want to know about because we're humans. It's what we do. Now, last night, due to just sort of another low type day, I was just watching YouTube on my TV in the bedroom, flipping around, and then when I saw the next popping up, it was a debate in New York City for the mayor's office. And because we talk about information, headline news, things that are worth chatting about, and that Mamdani guy is there, I watched it. And afterwards, a little dirty. Little not so well, and for all my family that actually does live in New York City, I would just suggest you live somewhere else. Move now, because there's no way any of these three guys are doing anything good for the city. Like I said, not my problem, not my real details, because I'm not really there, but we're all watching. The world is watching, and we got a chance to see Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, and Zohran Mamdani all together in one place, so you know they aren't the same guy. They traded some attacks in the first New York City mayor debate, clashing on crime, affordability, and how to deal with Donald Trump's administration. Cuomo is, of course, running as independent because he could not hack it as a Democrat. Pressed Mamdani on experience and public safety. Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, hit back at Cuomo's pandemic record and some ethical controversies. Meanwhile, Sliwa was going to prove he was not just there to stand around. He tried to position himself as a law and order foil to basically beat off both. Early takeaways had many swings and very few hits that landed, and those that did were far from knockouts. So let's start with the crime and safety part on the paths to order in New York City. Public safety drew the hardest elbows from all three men. Cuomo and Sliwa argued for hiring more officers and tougher enforcement. Mamdani emphasized restructuring and oversight rather than defunding proposed the Department of Community Safety. That was basically where they're going to send social workers out in conjunction with police officers to deal with some lesser things. Candidates also sparred about the DSA-linked policies. Cuomo attacking Mamdani's clarifying his statement for supporting decriminalization of sex work while targeting traffickers. Seems like a bit of a foil there. The result, a lot of contrast, very new details, but limited in what was new for the details for the night. Now, affordability in housing, because, you know, the rent's too damn high. We know that guy, remember. Big promises and a lot of questions that were left unanswered. All three leaned into rent and cost of living concerns. Mamdani touted a plan to build 200,000 affordable houses in over 10 years, easing some private developments in New York City. Cuomo opened up with rent down messaging while trying to reclaim ground on housing himself, and Sliwa criticized both rivals as basically just having no ideas that made any sense. Voters heard the ambience, they heard all the ambition. They have to also go back and do their math on their own because the math don't math very much, and the rent is still too damn high in New York City. Now, the big issue they had to talk about was the Trump factor and how governance would happen with a local city, a very big city, a very important city to the world, and the national gravity of the United States and the Trump administration. Looming large in the talk was federal funding, fights for things like the hypothetical National Guard showing up, and things that Trump could do to limit or boost New York City. The opening stretch titled National, Not Local, so they went to that first. Candidates framed how they respond to Washington's pressure, with Cuomo facing renewed scrutiny from past scandals. He's already battled some Trump before in big-time stuff as the governor. Mamdani actually fielded questions on analogy. He actually went on Fox News and said, let's talk, Donald Trump. Let's go back forward. But that wasn't here. Here he just said he questioned how Trump was managing things. Sliwa, of course, pitched himself as a steady hand against disorder. The debate often drifted from city services to national flashpoints because New York has a lot of national issues that are city issues. So they went to the top instead of taking it local. However, this is another one that came out kind of in the wash. A whole lot of crazy, a whole lot of just mash stuff that didn't really give you a real sort of idea where things are going. Now, the stakes are high, the deals are big, and the front runners are not really defined unless you think the fact that everybody seems to love Mamdani in New York City is the front runner, and the other two guys are just sort of basically killing time. That's all we have there. The debate itself clarified some contrasts, but didn't actually clarify actual points. Contrasts on policy, housing, and governing style. So you can see who exactly is playing what cards, but which cards are better, can't really tell. New Yorkers got a chance to see each candidate handle some heat and some specifics about the actual heated debates. The spectacle itself was a spectacle, but actually it didn't really clear up a lot of things. National issues got crowded over the nuts and bolts stuff that is the local things. Who's going to fix that pothole? How's the trash going to run? How are our schools going to be? And of course, early voting is getting close for New York City because it's a large place. It must be done, even though Trump isn't a fan of early voting or mail-in voting or any of those things like that. And the shift in momentum will have to happen fairly soon. What's going on? As we can tell from the press coverage, Mamdani's getting an extra bit of top level coverage, whether it's for or against him. And meanwhile, Cuomo has his dealings and has his demons to fight with. And Sliwa, who's always sort of been on the scene, is sort of the third man there, just literally on men out just there because they've got to fill the candidate, and that's what they have. A lot of crosstalk, a lot of tech lines, a lot of things drowned out the actual debate. As I watched it, essentially one person answered a question, someone else would answer a side question, and it'd get off the rails pretty quickly. And they did a lot of silly sort of things, like who's the best governor, best mayor ever, things like that going forward. And if there's a game between the Yankees and the Mets, which game do you go to? Things like that. In which Sliwa said, I think I can get a bus, I can get a car, we can get if one game's early, one game's late, I think I can make both games. The right answer, of course. The right answer for New York City. Like I said, my family who lives there, I feel for y'all. And while I know I love y'all, I think y'all probably might want to go someplace else. Yeah, the South isn't all that great these days, but hey, I don't know how much the I love New York is still a real deal as far as a catchphrase. But right now, there's not a lot of people loving, from a political outsider standpoint, from a guy who's watching them as racehorses, not too many people loving this race because it's, literally like the Three Amigos, without the entertainment and without the actual villain to come together to beat. These are just three guys saying a bunch of words, and none of them make any sense to me. If I lived in New York City, maybe I'd see things a bit differently with the actual living conditions. Can we bring back Dinkins? Can we chat GPT LaGuardia and have him speak to us via computer? What can we do? I mean, seriously, what can we do about this right now? It's not my problem to fix because I'm not a voter in New York City. It's y'all's. So the y'alls that live up there and the y'alls in the internet who are watching this with befuddlement as I am, let me know in the comments. First debate down, election soon. Unfortunately, we shall see.